Okay. Hi there, Adele. Good morning to you. My name is Neelu Bhardwaj. I am the Vice President of Russell of Book Club. This is a beautiful, wonderful organization in India, which encourages youngsters and those who are not that fortunate to learn the art of reading and to make books their best friends. So we came
Very nice.
and we thought you would be such a wonderful fit for our organization, Russell
Thank you.
Clubs. It is run by Rahul Suri, and the president of the organization is Anar Mehta. I am Neelu Bhardwaj. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce you to our listeners. So ladies and gentlemen, without any ado, here I welcome our wonderful new friend, Adele Alexande. Adele comes to us from Florida, and Adele is an author. She's a speaker, and she has done various wonderful things. Above all, she is a wonderful, wonderful storyteller. So Adele, which nobody knows, is also a very well-acclaimed professional clown. So obviously, if you are sad, you are down, this is the lady you want to listen to, who will perk you up, cheer you up, and pull you along. So Adele, welcome to our group.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Very pleased to talk to you and speak with you. I also wanted to point out to all our listeners that Adele's book is Journey to the Stage, Volume 2. So those of you who are impressed with our interview and would like to connect with Adele, please go ahead and read the book, Journey to the Stage, Volume 2. So as I already said, our wonderful guest today, Adele, is a storyteller. So obviously my first question to you, Adele, is how did you become a storyteller?
Oh, good question. Well, I was fortunate that both of my parents loved to tell stories. So that was really wonderful. And I luckily inherited that ability, but I didn't really realize that I was a storyteller until maybe I was in college. And when our friends used to get together in the dining room, I remember telling funny stories to them then. But later, I found out that storytelling is actually a profession, and that there are, here in the United States, a national storytelling festival that attracts 10,000 people every year.
Wonderful.
And I was fortunate this year, I got to be in it by Zoom and do a story swap, which was a lot of fun.
Absolutely beautiful.
That was it.
So Adele, when you were in college, you said you started becoming a storyteller. So would you tell stories to your friend circle, or did you?
Yes, to my friend circle. But later, I remember going back there to visit, and I did do a few lectures on different topics. But you might want to know that the stories that I like to tell the best are personal stories. So I like to tell stories about things that happened to me in my life. And I have to tell you, all the words are true.
Oh, wonderful. Absolutely. So Adele, as a little girl, I grew up in India. I was born in India, grew up in India. So I used to go to see the movies in town. And it was about 4 rupees or something. And I would come back and tell my younger sister and brother the story of the movie. I worked out in my mind, maybe I knew I was going to meet you one day. I started charging them a rupee each to tell them the story. Then it became a big group and I got more friends. So they all soon realized that the 4 rupee movie that I was watching, I was making 2 or 3 times more money telling them the story. I understand that you became a professional. You became a professional storyteller. So what inspired you to become a professional storyteller?
You know, I have to give credit right now to my mentor, Dr. Karen Neal, and also to Midge Byram, 2 well-known storytellers in my area. Karen is also a storytelling teacher at Florida Atlantic University. but they took me under their wing when I first started telling stories here at Story Slams. And when I first started going to them, I was winning first and second place, and it really boosted my confidence and made me feel so happy.
Absolutely.
Since then, I've been in you might have heard of the Moth storytelling. We have it in Miami here, and I did get chosen one time to tell at the Moth in Miami.
Wow.
So it's been a lot of fun. Storytellers have a lot of fun with their work. They put a lot of work into telling stories and perfecting them, but the joy is having listeners. So because of the pandemic, we've been relegated to Zoom. I have to say, I'm grateful, very grateful that we have Zoom, but it's not the same as being in person. And I really look forward to the day.
But you know, what a blessing for your audience and your listeners that in this pandemic, they're able to turn to you, watch you, listen to you, and be entertained. So we desperately need wonderful people like you to entertain us at this time when it's most needed. So Adele, do you use props in your storytelling?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that question.
Do you use props for
props? Wow. Yes. You know, I am a clown. I'm a professional clown. So I love props, but mostly when I'm storytelling, I don't use props, just if it's really going to enhance the story. Okay. But I do storytelling for all ages between 2 and 102. So because of that, if I'm working with children, I sometimes will use a storyboard or a felt board or puppets, which by the way, puppets are multilingual. So that when I'm working with children that speak a little bit of Spanish or Creole or French or German, I can make the puppets talk any language. And it's very, very fun for building cultural bonding.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. You make it such a special occasion. I can see that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Very fun.
So tell me, Adele, which of your stories is your most favorite? You said you tell stories about your past or from your life. So what is your most favorite story?
Oh, gosh. I love pretty much any story, but I have to tell you, I am an immigrant to this country. I mentioned before that my parents were storytellers and they love to tell stories about, the old country. They were from Poland, but I myself was born in Germany in a displaced persons camp.
Oh, interesting.
So, this was for refugees after the war. And I was a little girl when we left there and we came to the United States. But my dad, when he was in his 90s, was carrying around these ragtag pictures from the war, his work card, his memorabilia in his wallet that was falling apart. So one day, myself and my granddaughter, who was a young lady at that time, we put together all the pictures and we scanned them and put them in a photo album for my dad as his birthday present. And he loved it. But I love that story because it goes with my theme of storytelling, which is tragedy plus time equals humor.
Yes.
So now this story that is so tragic that these two people, my parents, lost all of the members of their family.
Yes.
But when they were in this displaced persons camp, they found each other because of a soccer ball. A soccer ball. Yes. My dad was working in the camp and had developed a sports club.
Okay.
And one of the members of his soccer team had seen my mother walking down the street in the camp, and they hadn't seen each other in at least 5 years. And he went looking for her, and he found her. And that's how I'm here, of course. But they were married for more than 65 years. And so, that's my favorite story. Tragedy plus time equals humor. And here were these two people with this great sense of humor. And then they had me, and I became a professional clown.
Adele, I love this story. You bring in humor into a very tragic situation. But the wonderful part is that people can see from, a phoenix rose, your family won. So you bring in a bit of history and you tell people how beautiful life is now. So thank you for really, really enjoyed that. So one more question. Tell me.
Sure.
Do you like, when you were telling a story, do you like one which has a resolution at the end of it, a moralistic background, or do you wait to just turn it into a happy ending and they lived happily ever after? Or are you one of those naughty women who like to leave it with a cliffhanger?
Cliffhanger. No, I think the cliffhanger is for someone else. I like to tell the story, and I like to have a happy ending.
Very good.
But the thing about that is, even with a happy ending, you can add something to let the person know that there's another chapter to the story.
Of course, absolutely. Yeah. And you did say that you tell stories to 2-year-old to 102-year-olds. So what is your best audience?
They're all a fabulous audience, I have to tell you. One thing about storytellers is they have a story ready, but when you go see the audience, sometimes you have to change the story. So what happened, I went to speak at a senior center, and I walked in, I had prepared a story, but I could tell from looking at the audience, they weren't going to be receptive. So dozens of years ago, I lived on a farm, and my goat had triplets, and I had all these animals on the farm. So I decided that older people do like stories about animals. So I switched my story, and it turned out to actually be a very funny story about living on the farm and all the funny things that happen there. And the seniors did like that. But I tell the same story to little kids sometimes, and they like it as well, because when I tell the story to little kids, I have them make animal sounds. So they're part of the story, and it gets to be very fun. So you can use the same story for
different audiences,
little kids and for big kids that are quite elderly. So it's a storytelling is just such a fun profession.
When I read up about you, I read that you are a very competent storyteller. So changing the narrative must be so easy for you, and you must do such a great job. So on behalf of our Russell of Book Club, Adele, a very, very big and warm thank you to you.
Thank you.
Put us up on your Facebook this thing so that your viewers can join with us. And if they want to be part of the Russell of Book Club, please give us a call, join with
I will.
Let's do this.
Thank you so much.
Again and again, and teach all the youngsters to read books, make books their best friends.
Absolutely.
Buy books. You can be sitting in a little hut and traveling to France, England, for the place. So thank you for developing imagination in the youngsters and taking the older generation through memory lane. I have enjoyed talking to you. A very, very big thank you to you, Adele.
And thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you.